Hello everybody, this is Ray and I'm coming to you from San Antonio, Texas, where I am on my way to Friedrich Wilderness area. Now, I had a lot of choices today as far as what to do, and right now I'm multitasking. I've got one guitar that I've primed to be painted. It's drying. It'll be dried in about 4 hours, and or at least the 24 hours that was recommended will have passed by that point in time. And I've got things in the car that are still in disarray from all the trips that I'm making back and forth to tend to someone else's property. And it's not raining right now, which is the perfect opportunity on an overcast day to share some words of wisdom with you. And the words that I want to talk about today just came to mind. It's something that kind of resonated with me in a way where it was like, I feel you. I understand your side of the perspective as well, your side of the coin. It's hard for a lot of people to see things that are challenging, and so it's really hard for people to see me. I've got a lot of damage, obviously, from my past upbringing, and when people really associate with that kind of pain, it becomes personal, and which means when I talk about my stories, it's very possible that you are feeling something in your heart, and you might not be used to that. The reason you might not be used to that is because it's coming to you from a man. This man is telling you right now, you're feeling something in your heart, which is why you're having trouble communicating with whatever it is that you're supposed to be interacting with here. How do I interact with this? Well, you kind of do it the same way you would with anyone else who was suffering through an unusual day. Yesterday I was watching a show, and in this show, the person who was damaged was having such trouble focusing on the celebration that was at hand that they couldn't even raise their glass to a toast with any kind of camaraderie. And that's something that I know that has not hindered me because, well, just 2 days after the event that I told you that I'm going through, I was invited to a celebration. I absolutely had a great time. I took gifts. I took fruits from my own garden. I took fruit from the trees in Fredericksburg that we picked. And I'll tell you what, I enjoyed the music that was playing. I enjoyed all of the conversation and all of the opportunity to discuss the things that we prioritized. One of the things that I prioritized in the mix was saying a prayer in public with my family. And we did that. So, not only did we do that, but we asked to be freed from the previous, I guess, bondage, spiritual bondage from the poor decisions that we made in the past. I said all of those things, but I wasn't heavy-hearted. I'm still not heavy-hearted. I'm telling you a story about all the choices I have today to make and all the things that I have going on. And basically, we got the fuzz here right behind me. And I just hit the exit of the freeway right in front of the law. But it still didn't distract me. It was a surprise. You know, I wasn't quite expecting that at this moment as I was exiting, telling you a story about how I wasn't really thrown. I was, in the same manner, presented with something that made me go, well, hold on, maybe I'm wrong. When the family asked me questions like if I expected them to pay for some of the things I was going through, that kind of shocked me. And it got me into a point where I wasn't able to think so clearly. So I asked about, adding a prayer to this day that we were having. So I did. I said an Our Father, and I asked for freedom from the bondage that we had in our family, and I still celebrated. I got to talk with my cousin. I got to talk with my relatives. I should say my cousins, not just my cousin. like I say, I've got the fuzz behind me. They've got their blinker on. They've had it on for quite some time. And I changed my course based on what was going on. It's not that I have anything that I'm ashamed of to talk with this officer about. I do, however, have a misconception based on how some of my family was treated in the past compared to some other families. I've even been in cars where I've been pulled over, and depending on who's driving determines what kind of level of attention was given to a circumstance. So in today's era, some guy walking around with long hair because he's growing it out to donate to wigs for kids, I might look a little bit, I don't know, I've got my 99.5 radio station of San Antonio shirt on that talks about a band whose fan club I've been banned from. Some weird things cause weird changes in trajectory as far as what it is we're saying. I'm not deviating from what I'm telling you, though, in terms of the story that I've got for you. The story I've got for you is basically about how I was feeling when my family suddenly talked about only power of attorney. Kind of got my heartstrings feeling a little bit weird. Like there was another subject we could also be discussing and coming to actual resolution with. So, when I feel sad or happy, I feel the same as everyone else. The difference is the frequency with which I feel these things. For an example, if I feel sad when I'm in the presence of my family, and some of the people who are calling me are my family, then basically I'm hoping that they're either helping the situation or assisting me in a resolution of some situation that is at hand. That's basically what I would defer to my figures of authority for. Like the figures of authority. I just passed the same exact police officer, even though I deviated from my course. So he probably saw me talking, and he's probably like, well, that's, he could have gone this other way and avoided I'm a cop. People watch out around me. The feelings are mutual. If there's a timidity, I don't even know if that's a word. If there's a timid feeling about being in the proximity of some figure of authority. In other words, if I would act different in front of one, then there's a difference in me. So those are things that I realize as I'm going through these situations. What I mean by that is we're all learning together that we feel things in our heartstrings. We feel things in our actions that maybe tell a story no matter which path you decide to go down. So I'm going to tell you a story, and it's going to be targeted to, once again, what we started talking about, which, if you don't remember, was basically how I had this epiphany of how I felt pain, but differently from some other people. And what I mean by that is that the level of trauma that I experienced as a young adult, as a child, I should say, as a toddler, really, the level of trauma that I experienced caused me an indifference to certain things, to where I don't even respond to certain stimuli if other stimuli isn't present. So if nobody is actively attacking me at that moment, I'm capable of telling and listening to telling a story and listening to a story and engaging in a conversation in two directions. And that's why I often say that if you really pay attention to what I'm saying in this talk, it might have bounced in all these different directions everywhere. The anxiety that people might feel when they experience all these changes of directions in a conversation might be also caused if you were hanging out around a group of toddlers who are just talking their free mind. Because if you've never hung out with a toddler, you've never lived. You've never heard the things that come out of a toddler's mouth. You've never heard the links between thoughts. It's not until people course correct those thoughts into where it's like, you can't have this synapse over here at this time because of this one, and then this one makes you feel uncomfortable, so you certainly shouldn't use that one. But it's all synapses. It's all thoughts. And we can associate thoughts with different gestures of our hands. We can associate thoughts with different positioning. We can all of the different things that we can do with our hands cause a feeling. And if you got joy, you've got energy, well, boom, you've been blessed by the power of Ray. There's an energy of joy. If you can't recognize it, you might also not even think it exists in me, because it's kind of infrequent that I come out with joy. You know, it's a very difficult emotion for me to get to be at that level of ease. And like I was talking earlier about this situation where I have all these different choices that I can make any choice in the world. So let me ask you, why would I subject myself to the area that's causing me extreme discomfort? There are two reasons. One, either I'm a glutton for punishment, or two, there's a need for it. Somebody needs to take care of this action somehow. What I'm suggesting when it comes to what I'm asking for, which is the same as anyone else, if you're, wanting to remove straws from sea turtles' nose, if you want to get mad at the airplanes flying overhead, even though it's full of people just like you and me, if you want to get mad at all the surroundings and the accidental fires, if you want to get mad at the purposefully set fires, if you want to get mad at all that, there's a feeling, and it's not coming from me. I'm not mad at any of it. I've let that go, baby. It has no control over me whatsoever. I'm out here parked, about to go on a walk at Friedrich Wilderness Area, where I'm going to attempt to find wilderness to share with you. Why? I love you. If I didn't love you, I wouldn't be showing you the things that bring me joy. So I put all those things out there that bring me joy. I even sing songs that bring me joy. I might not convey joy the same way that you're used to hearing it from a man. But man, you sure are watching this video, aren't you? Why did you delete your comment that you left? It was a beautiful compliment. If there was something that changed your mind, change the comment. Add to it. Say, I like this, but I didn't like that. How can I help you to smile if you don't remember how to smile? How can I help you by spending all of my time that I could be enjoying on the trail just watching the wildlife and sharing that with you? Is it by listening? If you're listening to this video, you're going to click on subscribe. You're going to click on the thumbs up, like. Pretend it's a middle finger up if you really don't like me. Click on it. Show me how many people dislike the content because it's too close to home. It's uncomfortable. It's almost uncomfortable as it is for me to laugh for so long and be at ease for so long. It's uncomfortable. I don't expect it. There's songs that say, something's got to go wrong because I'm feeling way too amazing. There are songs like that. The things that we think about might often come true. So it's kind of a comedy of errors for us to be mad at one another and not talk with one another when the last thing we want to do is be upset. Because if we think about the passing of someone and only get sorrowful at that time, we also have the capability of thinking about that person and going, man, we had such a great time. It's funny. It's 1:11 right now. It's funny how Time Just Slips Away is a song that I just was hearing on the radio. And I thought, what if we changed it from a story of lovers to just a story of friends? It would be funny how we would learn to apply across the genres and go, it's a police car. I ain't got time for that. I ain't got no worries about that because I'm not doing anything wrong. I'm going for a walk in the park. I'm going for a walk in the park in a city where we have security who's taking care of looking out for the people who might be at risk to cause harm to other people. In a way, I associate with that energy because I was raised and brought up with somebody who still had the tendency to show these destructive behaviors. So if I was with that person, how could I be at ease? How can I be at ease talking with that person for hours on end if they can't even like any of my work? It gets pretty complex at certain levels. But I will tell you that as I'm out here walking on the trails, I'm absolutely enjoying all of the wildlife that I get to encounter. I'm enjoying using my own body the way it was designed to be used, which is to enjoy all of the beauty that's around me, created by, I would assume, a higher power. I'm not going to define, I know, the intricacies of the mysteries of the higher power, but I am absolutely grateful for this higher power that I myself have learned to receive and to express. It's joy. Receive love. Receive joy. We are what we consume. Even out of the most bitter of fruits come some of the most potent medicine. There's another plane. You just got to see it. I know it wasn't a bird. I can hear it right now. I just barely caught a glimpse of it. Anytime something flies over, I used to say a bird. It could be a bird. It could be a plane. It could be Superman that flies over. It could be Jesus Christ himself. There will be a correlation to what I'm saying in terms of how it resonates in your heart space. The moment that you hear what I'm saying and understand, man, that guy Ray, he's not unhappy. I walked with him. I've talked with that guy. He's happy. He loves to do things that are creative. He loves to share a laugh, share a drink, share a celebration, share a prayer, share a struggle that we overcome. I love to do all those things. That's why I've worked with many of you. And I don't mean that like, some people continue to, you can't pigeonhole me into anything. I'm a guide as much as you're a guide. I'm a repair person as much as you're a repair person. I'm an amazing driver. There's hardly any other driver like me, I'll tell you that. I'm not going to give you the credit for being a good driver until I'm in that presence with you. I can't tell you if you're a good driver. Just by hearing you say it. I can't hear you say you practice what you preach if you deviate from that course and you correct words, divide with parties that are crass. Uncouth was the word that I've heard. It's only uncouth when you're just oblivious to the reality, especially when it's been brought to your attention. So, now that I have your attention, I appreciate all of every bit of feedback that you've given me so far, and I look forward to the new way of feedback that we're going to express back and forth, especially in terms of how we enjoy the nature that I bring to you, how we enjoy the places I bring you to in nature, and how we enjoy the music inspired by these beautiful places and sometimes quite serious experiences that we've gone through together, you and I. You're watching this, right? So we're still doing this together. You're hearing the conversation like it's a conversation. You're probably talking back and forth with yourself. about so many things, I can feel the anxiety. I can feel it. I just don't panic. I don't run away from it. It's like, why am I anxious about talking to a great friend? Especially one who I haven't talked with in a long time. And by that, what I mean is a relative or non-relative, a toddler or an advanced age adult. All of us started the same in terms of the miracle of life itself. We may have all been placed in different levels of possibilities, but I think the possibilities are still in my favor in terms of success across the board, even without focusing on the dollar first. The dollar should never come first, never. For all of us who are talking about all these different things we can do and vote on, that's great. Don't also forget to include the basic action that's required for any additional change to ever occur. If you are fed up with our fathers, the lack of communication, and the lack of results, vote with a like and a subscribe and click the bell so you can be notified when I post something. Because it might be important that I'm asking for your help right then so that we can help rebuild the dreams of someone else who's ready for that transformation. I myself, I'm just a messenger, you know? I'm happy doing what I'm doing. I don't need to keep continuing to I can't reinvent the wheel. I can tune in to a higher energy and possibly create something way more spectacular, but only in the form of like a song, a concept for jewelry. I had this made. It's a mirror to the other piece that I wear quite frequently, and each one causes its own conversation among the people who are willing to communicate. Some of us have trouble communicating. If we're fed up with the way that our fathers raised us to communicate, which is by sometimes cutting off communication, click the like button on this video. You like that we should not ignore one another. You like that we should communicate with one another. You like that. So like this video. This might be a bitter fruit, a weird version of talking about feeling pain back and forth. But every time you who are watching this right now choose to do all of a number of things to overlook how we accomplish things together, you who are not sharing this video or clicking like or having a communication because you don't want to talk too often to this person. You certainly don't want to do it on the channels that they communicate on where they're telling you, hey, I'm just trying to enjoy my day. The energy that's coming out is because I don't know how to cover all the bases without including that bitter truth. There's an aftertaste. In this particular case, I think it's bitter at first and then sweet. Because once we all tune in to the same truth and go, huh, I could have shared this one that he sent like a almost, however long ago. I could have shared this. Someone else could have understood and benefited from this information. There are people going through pain right now. I go for a walk in nature. That's my success story. I grow vegetables. I enjoy the things that we're eating. I give thanks for every opportunity that I have. I try to multitask. If I go somewhere, I'd sure love to see someone that I haven't seen in a long time. I'd sure love to talk about these things. I also am challenged with how do I raise the unaffected? How do I raise the dead? My first thought, boom! Apply electricity, energy. So there are energies we can share with one another. In this particular world, a lot of us consider money as our energy. Time is money. Time is energy. Energy is time. It's all the same. Anything I put into something is going to result in something growing, something manifesting. If I put thought into different things I'm seeing around the world, like if I watch news feeds that only talk about fear all the time, I might be growing seeds of fear. I thoroughly enjoy watching horrific stories. The imagination is so diverse, it's neat to see someone else's concept of what fear is. At the same time, I'm able to weigh the fear with that peace that I have inside. There are certain things that can cause me a little bit of mental agitation, things from the past if I haven't talked them through with the people that matter. If I have trouble communicating with somebody, especially someone as nice as myself asking to communicate with that person, the irony is there are other people who ask to talk with me the same way. And the conversation keeps kind of going in circles. We all have the ability to heal ourselves. With our food comes our mood. Health is wealth. Time is it's a river. How do you want to go? Against the current, with the current? I'm flying down the current so fast, I've had to build specialty boats to keep upright during these high impact collisions that are almost unforeseeable, but absolutely able to be withstood. So I'm able to withstand the test of time. I'm able to go through these conversations where I go and release toxins, sweat it out over dad's yard or whatever story you've heard before that has caused you to still not click on like. You like these things. You understand. There's no misunderstanding between us. We're all on the same page. Question is, how well do you see me? Do you see me at all? Do you hear what I'm asking for? Have you yourself been challenged in the past with this kind of trauma? And you're just having trouble finding the words that make it so that you're relatable. I mean, every trauma is the same. Whether my trauma was extreme or not, there are people who have suffered way more trauma from way earlier on. You know that. You know that because we see the news feeds. We've all seen it, whether we see it or not. We know it. It comes through in our collective conscious, right into the very dream level of everything that we're building together. Our dreams and our nightmares. So, for those of you who enjoy talking about dreams, becoming lucid, seeing energies as they come out without polishing, I'm not trying to give you gems of manufactured quality. I'm giving you raw gems, the real deal, the thing as it vibrated and grew. That's the purity of every energy that we can consume when we have a fruit right off of the vine. We know this. And nourishment absolutely impacts our mental health. So, if you're having trouble hearing what I'm saying because I'm talking with this level of passion and you still haven't clicked on like, please, in the comments section, click on why you didn't choose any of those options. Type something in there. Tell me, give me some feedback. Tell me I made you uncomfortable if I did. Remember, the truth will set you free. It doesn't set everyone around you free. You have to accept the truth. You have to click on like and subscribe. You don't necessarily have to do both. They're mutually independent. My truth might vary phenomenally from your truth. I recognize that. That's why I still would hang out with you and talk with you for an entire road trip to go watch a football game. I don't even like football. I mean, I do, but I don't know all the rules and all that. Basketball is what I used to love watching. So whether it's a basketball game, a concert across the nation, a trip just to go get some peaches, a trip to go work on some network together, whether it's a trip to just basically go somewhere where someone else happens to live and you can hang out at the same time, or what, I'm perfectly fine with or without a certain attitude today. The things that I interact with on a regular basis directly impact my own future. And every once in a while, you get a chance encounter where the law will show up right in your path. And even if you try to deviate, there's no clearer way to have put that. You know, the law being even a higher power, think about it, will show up when you least expect it. And even if you try to run or deviate, you're going to run into that person. You're going to run into that source. And then you also might run into a lot of sorcerers. There are things that I cannot explain in this world except for to say, I'm not the judge of it. I have choices that I can make right now, whether or not any of those are true. The things that I subscribe to say, don't fear. One foot in front of the other. A day-by-day basis. There's so many ways you can put it. But accepting responsibility, accepting peace, are probably two of my favorite ways to put it in this show, where I talk about wellness and conservation. The two things that are not mutually independent. They go hand in hand. Whether you only believe in something on paper and in your heart, or in your heart, I should say, whether you believe in one or the other, if you believe in something on paper and also in your heart, you have a little bit of a unity there. And you understand that not all rhetoric still covers that which is true when you apply it to, well, how do you feel in your heart about that decision? If you feel okay not communicating with me, not clicking on like on those things that basically I've asked for your participation on, not clicking on sharing, then I also ask you to not do the same thing over and over. You'll only feel a certain level of anxiety and an unrest if you know that you've done something wrong. You can go back, decide whether you're making a free will choice or not, decide if you feel like you've been pressured into something, or you can make your own choice, which is independent from the person who you're watching something from. In other words, if you see one person trying to trump another person at whatever the election system happens to be in your neck of the woods, the person should not cause you any kind of discomfort. If they are lesser than you on the energy vibe scale, they can't cause you discomfort. They can only seek you for whatever conversation that you're going to have. It's not up to me to try to reach out and talk to the President of the United States, for an example. The President of the United States has all of their helpers. They should reach out and talk to me if they have anything to talk with me about. I don't know how that's going to go. I don't know what it means. I'm just telling you, the fact is the hierarchy is still a two-way conversation if necessary. And in my own family, we've got a one-way conversation going. And that's a sad celebration if you ask me. I would never want to attend that party if there wasn't a two-way celebration going on where people actually talked with one another, hugged, helped people to the cars, brought things of value to contribute. It would be a sad world. The party would just be pity party for one. You can absolutely orchestrate your life that way. Or you can be a peaceful party for one. It doesn't matter whether there's another person or not. It doesn't matter if people are celebrating with you or not when you achieve certain things. You don't do things of goodness to expect anything in response. You just do it because it makes your heart happy. Whatever makes your heart happy, that's the kind of thing that should click on that's the kind of thing we should click on the like button for. If I heard this and it was like, wow, that was heavy stuff, man. That was heavy-handed, but, or like that guy, what is he? The little brother says, listen. We're diving fathoms today. It doesn't matter how it's said. Everyone has their own style. Question is, did that bitter fruit, the truth, give you some kind of satisfaction? Was it all bitter? Or was the person taking the pill expecting a bitter pill? If we see, the plane just flew over. Confirmation, baby. The person taking the pill, the viewer, who cannot click on like, subscribe, because of their own free choice, is expecting a bitter pill, I think. And that's the difference between how I feel pain and how others feel pain. Some people prioritize whether or not they would help somebody based on their feelings for somebody. And other people decide if they like someone and then they basically would help all the time. In other cases still, someone might help a complete stranger cross a burning desert at absolute risk to themselves, if only because for a moment we're thinking of each other as children walking this earth together. Have a great day. Thank you so much for subscribing, for liking, for sharing, for contributing, for everything that's causing this miracle to become possible, where once in the past it was very challenging, mostly because of time constraints, money constraints, etc., and so forth, that have significantly impacted the majority of our economy today, particularly due to these COVID situations, which are causing other reasons for possible anxiety attacks. If you are being attacked and you do not deserve to be attacked, click the like button, the thumbs up button, click subscribe, share this video. I also don't deserve to be attacked. However, I will tell you that with certain governances and certain energy, boom! There are just no more hurdles. Now, you can get to a certain level. I'm not expecting to raise people from the dead or anything like that, although I'll do what I have to if I know the answer to how to make that happen. Currently, I know CPR. I keep that in regular practice, my knowledge up to date, because I do bring people to the outdoors and I do hang out with people on the outdoors, and I also don't want to become a statistic in the outdoors. So I do everything I can to make sure that I'm challenging myself physically and also not becoming a liability to anyone else. So with all of this in mind, everything that I've said, take it with a grain of salt so that you can keep your sodium levels high as well as your water intake high during your walk. Always try to focus on nutrients. Nutrition is pinnacle. Health is wealth. And don't forget, what we subscribe to, particularly in our online channels, either has a heartbeat to it or it's industry driven. Industry driven is something that it has a certain appearance. I might have a certain appearance to you. I came up a certain way. That doesn't mean that I don't understand fragmented sections of energy that can be distributed in ways that accomplish the same exact thing that we all want to accomplish. So, peace be with you, love, and all of those other old school things. Have a great day.